Understanding that say how to prepare the projected statement of the profitability at new level 48,000 number of units. I request all of you to write down answer along with me. Column number 1 is particulars and column number 2 is answer. We start with the raw material consumption. Raw material consumption. We can see that so the raw material consumption is given to us in the question 1,44,000 rupees. It is for how many number of units? 36,000. So what is the consumption of raw material for 48,000 is required to be found by you. So 1,44,000 into 48,000 divided by 36,000. It would be 1,92,000 because the cost of the direct material is absolutely variable cost. Next is the direct wages. It is an amount of rupees 72,000 divided by 36,000 into 48,000. So 72 into 48 upon 36. That comes to 96,000. Next is variable overhead. It is an amount of rupees again 72,000 divided by 36,000 into 48,000. That comes to 96,000. Next is fixed overhead. That is an amount of rupees 36,000. Amount of the fixed overhead amount will not change. That is the way the total cost will be calculated. The amount of the total cost would be 1,92,000 plus 96,000 plus 96,000 plus 36,000, 4,20,000. Let us say it is a sales. It is 4,32,000 divided by 36,000 into 48,000. So 432 divided by 36 into 48, 5,76,000. So sales minus so the total cost that will give the profit or loss. There is an amount of the loss of 1,56,000. It is calculated as 5,76,000 minus 4,20,000. So it is B minus A. I request all of you to write down answer. Second part of the question. It says that so you are required to prepare the statement of the working capital requirement. I request all of you to make the calculation of the answer and put your answer in the chat box except for WIP. Except for WIP, what would be the answer? I want you to tell me in the chat box. Please write down answer. Calculation of working capital requirement at new level. Column number 1 is particulars. Column number 2 is answer. In that, say we will show stock of raw material, that is raw material consumption divided by 12 months into raw material holding period. The consumption of the raw material is 1,92,000 divided by 12 months into raw material holding period is given as 1 month. So 192 divided by 12, it comes to 16,000. Stock of WIP, I told you to hold it for the time being. In that, I need to give some explanation to you. Next is stock of finished goods. In that, cost of goods sold divided by 12 months into finished goods holding period. Cost of goods sold is an amount of 4,20,000 divided by 12 months multiplying with the finished goods holding period is given as again 1 month. So 4,20,000 divided by 12, it is 35,000. Next, debtors. Debtors will be calculated as cash cost of credit sales divided by 12 months into average collection period. As far as the cash cost of the credit sales is concerned, it is again 4,20,000 divided by 12 months multiplying with the average collection period is provided to us as 2 months this time. So 4,20,000 into 2 divided by 12, that is 70,000. That is the way the data are calculated. Next, any prepaid expenses information if at all given. Finished goods holding period is done, WIP raw material is done, collection period is done. Cash balance 19,500. Okay. We can see that say there is no other information provided to us with respect to the advanced tax or something like that. So we are ignoring it. Now we'll show the liabilities. In that say the creditors for raw material, and next is so the creditors for expenses. So write down answer along with me. Creditors for raw material, For that, the formula would be annual credit purchases divided by 12 months into average payment period. Dear students, for an ongoing company, we'll assume that the opening and closing is same. So the consumption itself is purchased 1,92,000 divided by 12 months into average payment period is provided as 3 months. So 192 into 3 divided by 12, 48,000. That is creditors for raw material. Next is creditors for expenses. In that, direct wages plus overhead divided by 12 months into average payment period. So direct wages and overhead expenses will be 96, again 96, 36. We'll make total of all of them. So it is 96 plus 96 plus 36 divided by 12 months into average payment period is provided to us for expenses. It is 1 month. So 96,000 plus 96,000 plus 36,000. So the total is 228 divided by 12 into 1. That comes to 19,000. This is the way we are required to make the calculation. Now only one information is pending, that is WIP. So this is the way we are required to make the calculation of the answer except for WIP. Now let us have understanding that say how to do WIP valuation. So just keep 3-4 lines gap and write down new heading, calculation of WIP valuation. Dear students, over here the question is providing the information that what is the WIP holding period? It is 1 month. What does it mean? It means that it takes 1 month to process the raw material into finished goods. So over here what will happen? We understand that say the cost of the direct material is 1,92,000, direct wages is 96,000, overhead is again 96,000 and fixed overhead is 36,000. So everybody is requested to pay attention. We are having say basically 3 types of expenses. One is the cost of the raw material. It is an amount of 1,92,000 divided by 12 months into WIP holding period is 1 month. Next, direct wages, that is an amount of 96,000 divided by 12 months into 1 month. Next is overhead. Next is overhead. In that, as far as the variable overhead is concerned, it is same 96,000. Fixed overhead is 36,000 divided by 12 months into 1 month. Everybody is requested to pay attention. Do not write anything. So 1,92,000 divided by 12. That comes to 16,000. Next is 96,000 divided by 12 into 1. That is 8,000. Next is 96 plus 36 divided by 12 into 1. That is 11,000. So 16 plus 8 plus 11. Total it is 35,000. I want you to write in the chat box that do you think that this is the correct valuation of the WIP? Friends, this answer is wrong. Why this answer is wrong? Because whatever this working which is done over here right now, that considers that say the entire units are completed. Whatever the units which are in the process, they are fully completed. That is what it considers. Actually, they are not fully completed. They are in the process. That is the reason it is given a name as WIP. The term WIP stands for work in process or work in progress. So basically, the completion stage is required to be considered. So basically, the percentage of the completion work is supposed to be given in the question. But unfortunately, you can see that in the question it has not been given. So we can make our own assumption. Due to this information, wages and overhead accrue evenly throughout the production cycle. You have to assume that the wages and overhead is completed equal proportion. If at all you assume 20% for the wages, then you have to assume same 20% for overhead. 60% for wages, then you have to assume 60% for overhead. So whatever the assumption that you make for the direct wages, the same assumption is required to be made for overhead. For material, you can have your independent assumption. You cannot have the assumption of 1 for all because that is wrong. It is fully completed. You cannot have 0 for all because it means that the work is not started. So you can have say some reasonably acceptable assumption. We will take generally 100%, 50% and 50%. Generally this is what I suggest. So accordingly we will be having the wages and overhead to be revalued, and accordingly the WIP is supposed to be valued. I request all of you to write down this working note and then I'll dictate a note for the same to you. So for direct wages it is 96,000 divided by 12 into 1 into 0.5. That comes to 4,000. Then 96 plus 36. 132 divided by 12 into 1 into 0.5. That comes to 5,500. This is the way we are required to compute the total working capital requirement. Sorry, total WIP. And this total WIP will be useful to calculate the working capital requirement. 16,000 plus 4,000 plus 5,500 is 25,500. That is what we understand. So this is the way we compute the WIP valuation. $25,500, and we can write over here refer working note. So now we'll have the further working like this: 16,000 plus 25,500 plus 35,000 plus 70,000 plus 19,500 minus 19,000 minus 48,000. So working capital is 99,000. So working capital requirement an amount of 99,000. I request all of you to write down answer. Now almost the answer is over. Yet there is one more point for which I want to give you explanation. That is a point for which I come across to the doubt number of times. Dear students, a kind of question to which I come across is like this. Listen carefully. That first question, listen carefully. That sir, whatever the consumption of raw material that you have returned, in my opinion, it is not correct. That is a kind of question to which I come across. Uh, I have an inquiry that say, why do you feel so? Student tell me like this. That sir, let us prepare raw material stock account in terms of number of units. You don't have to write anything. Let us prepare raw material stock account in terms of number of units. In that, it is units, particulars, units, opening. Then, like we understand that it's the issued for production, that is consumption. Then closing. Then on the debit side, we'll have the purchase, that is so the production. I'm sorry, I'm preparing the finished goods account, finished goods stock account in terms of units. Opening, debit side, sales on the credit side, and the closing. I repeat that. Students are having a question that sir, whatever the raw material consumption that you have mentioned, in that say we do not agree. I that is say tell them that say why don't you agree? They give me an explanation like this. That sir, the opening stock will be equal to the closing of the previous year. Yes. Last year we had 36,000 number of units activity level. Finished goods holding period is provided 1 month. So 36,000 divided by 12 into 1. So the opening stock would be 3,000 number of units. This time we are increasing the activity level to 48,000. For that say we already have prepared a detailed working note. And sir, closing would be calculated based on this year's activity level. Yes. So it is 48,000 again divided by 12 into 1. So what will happen? So the closing would be 4,000. So the credit side total is 52,000. Debit side total is 52,000. So sir, production for this year will be 49,000. How 49,000 is calculated? It is 52,000 minus 3,000. This is the way we are supposed to make the calculation of the production of the current year. So if at all the production is 49,000 and listen carefully, 1,44,000 divided by 36,000. Cost is 4 rupees per unit into 49,000 number of units that we have produced. That comes to 1,96,000. So students have a point that say we should be having the raw material consumption of 1,96,000 instead of 1,92,000. That is what say they have an argument. So we understand that the students have a point that say we should be having the consumption of the raw material as 1,44,000 divided by 36,000 into 49,000. That comes to 1,96,000. This is the first question. Before I reply to that question, and another student is raising a point, and the student says that sir, I have another objection. So I tell him, like that student, that say, okay, you tell me your objection first of all. Student says that I do not agree with this, the purchase of the raw material of 1,92,000. I tell that say, how, why you don't agree? Then the student says something like this. So you may prepare the raw material stock account. Okay, let us prepare. In that, sir, opening stock is based on the previous year consumption. Yes. Previous year consumption was 1,44,000. Yes. So 1,44,000 divided by 12 into what? 1 month. Why? Because the raw material holding period is 1 month. So 1,44,000 upon 12, that comes to 12,000. On the credit side, we will have consumption. Consumption is 196 based on this. But if at all we take, let us say 192. Suppose, then the closing raw material stock would be based on current year's consumption. So it is 192 divided by 12 into 1. So 192 divided by 12 into 1. That comes to 16,000. So what is credit side total? Credit side total is 192 plus 16. That is 208. It may be more than that, but it is of course not less than that. Why it can be more? Because we understand that so the consumption we have calculated it is more. Then the closing would be of course more. Debit side it is 208. So 208 minus 12. That comes to 1,96,000. So student has a point that sir, again, whatever the purchase that you have returned for the purpose of calculation of the creditors, is this according to me? And if at all we consider this value, then in that case answer would be still more. That is what the next question to which I come across. Now I am giving reply to these queries. Let us say for the understanding purpose only, we have produced and sold 36,000 number of units. Let us say in the year 2025-2026. Let us say in the recent year we have produced and sold 36,000 number of units. In the upcoming year, that is 2026-27, we are going to produce and sell 48,000 units. Yes. Sir, why 48,000? 1/3 increase. Okay. Now during this year, whatever all of you have raised query is absolutely correct. That we understand that the production is more than sales. 49 is exceeding 48. Purchase is again greater than the consumption. Why? Because the closing stock is more than the opening stock. This is what's definitely correct. Okay. Let us say that's in the year 2027-28. Do we have a situation like this? Do we have a situation like this in the year 2027-28? Please write answer in the chat box. I repeat my question. My question is that whatever this kind of situation that we have in the year 2026-27. Whether we will have such situation in 2027-28, that is my question. Please write answer in the chat box. The answer is no. We will not have such situation. Why? Because say for the year 2027-28, what will happen? Opening stock of the raw material and closing stock of the raw material would be same. So consumption and purchase would be same. Opening stock of the finished goods and closing stock of the finished goods would be same. So cost of goods produced itself is cost of goods sold. That is the way we will be having say the working say from the year 2027-28 onwards. So over here say we understand that say basically we are ignoring these temporary changes and considering that say over the long period of time what kind of requirement of the working capital that we have, accordingly we make the calculation of the answer over here. I agree with all of you that say during this transactional period, during this so the time period when you are changing the activity level, we would be having so the production more than the sales, we would be having so the purchase greater than the consumption, but this is only for the temporary purpose. Beyond a point, in a way that say from the second year itself onwards, say it will not happen like this. That is the reason so what we are doing, say ignoring this temporary changes over a long period of time, what is the working capital requirement that we are calculating. I request all of you to write down answer along with me. Based on above working, we conclude that for the year in which activity level changes, purchase would be more than consumption, full stop. Production would be more than sales, full stop. Yet we are ignoring these temporary changes and over a long period of time what would be requirement of working capital is found. Hence, for an existing company, always A Opening stock itself is closing stock. In bracket I am writing all types of stock. B. Cost of goods produced itself is cost of goods sold. C. Consumption is equal to purchase. This is what we understand. So small summary of the entire answer. In the first working note, we are calculating number of units that we are producing and selling at the new level. That is 48,000 number of units. Then we are having the statement of the profitability at the new level, that is 48,000. Consumption of the raw material will increase proportionately. Direct wages cost will increase proportionately. Variable overhead cost will increase proportionately. Fixed overhead will remain same. Total of all of them will be the total cost. Sales minus total cost is equal to profit or loss. That is what we understand. Next is the working capital requirement at the new level. In that, say everything is very simple: stock of raw material, stock of finished goods, debtors, cash, creditors for expenses. The new point is, say, the WIP valuation. Regarding WIP valuation, completion stage is not given. So we have assumed that, say, it is 100% for material, and for wages and overhead it is 50-50. We can make any other assumption also, but preferably we will make assumption like this. This is what, say, we understand. For wages and overhead we have to make same assumption. Why? Because we have been given that, say, the wages and overhead accrue evenly throughout the production cycle. Write on a small note for the WIP valuation. For WIP valuation, we assume that completion stage for direct material is 100%, comma, for wages and overhead it is 50%. Full stop. We can make any other assumption also. Full stop. We have to assume completion stage for wages and overhead is same, because the question provides that, so, the wages and overhead accrue evenly throughout the production cycle.